Humanity has always wanted to move forward. It looked up at the sky, trying to understand why the stars shine, why the night is dark, why the universe exists. It observed nature, trying to uncover its rules, the direction of the wind, the flow of water, the hidden mathematics of life. But every new idea was not always welcomed with hope, because new ideas shake the old order. They break familiar truths. They shift the balance of power. And sometimes, a thought was far more than just a theory. It was a threat to beliefs, a threat to authority, a threat to the established order. Because truth does not always comfort. Sometimes it disturbs, sometimes it frightens, sometimes it provokes anger. And throughout history, some people were silenced simply for telling the truth, judged for asking questions, punished for thinking differently. Some were exiled, some were imprisoned, and some lost their lives. But their ideas never died, because ideas cannot be destroyed by fire. They cannot be stopped by chains. And as time passes, truth always rises to the surface. Today, we tell the story of scientists who lost their lives for an idea, a story of courage, a story of resistance, a story of those who paid the price for truth. This is not just a story of history. This is the story of the price humanity paid for progress. This is the dark side of science, but also its bravest face. In the 16th century, people believed the universe was small and orderly. The earth was at the center. The heavens were perfect. Everything existed within the boundaries set by God. But one man refused to accept these limits, Giordano Bruno. He said the universe was infinite, that the stars were distant suns, perhaps with other worlds and other life. This idea was not only scientific, it was a theological earthquake, because if the universe was infinite, humanity was not at the center, and this thought terrified authority. Bruno was captured. He was kept in a cell for years. He was asked to renounce his ideas, but he knew the truth could not be taken back. He did not give in. In 1600, he was burned alive in Rome. As the flames rose, it was not only a man on trial, but the freedom of thought itself. Alexandria, the center of knowledge in the ancient world, libraries, philosophers, mathematicians, and one of the brightest minds of that world, Hypatia. She was not just a scientist, she was a teacher, a thinker, teaching astronomy, advancing mathematics, teaching people to question. But the city was changing, knowledge was giving way to fear, reason was giving way to fanaticism. Hypatia found herself caught in the middle of political conflict, and one day, she was dragged from her carriage by a group of fanatics. She was brutally killed. Her death was not just the death of a person. The light of knowledge grew a little dimmer. In the 18th century, science was moving toward the modern age. Experiments were becoming more systematic. Nature was no longer a mystery, but a puzzle waiting to be solved. And one of the pioneers of this revolution, Antoine Lavoisier, he transformed chemistry into a systematic science. He standardized experiments. He brought precision and measurement to science. He discovered the law of conservation of mass. Everything we consider the foundation of chemistry today is built upon his work. He was not just a scientist, he was one of the architects of modern science. But history is not always fair. When the French Revolution erupted, society was changing, the old order was collapsing, and Lavoisier was seen as connected to the old regime. He was put on trial. Being a scientist changed nothing. His achievements did not protect him. In court, these words were spoken: "The Republic has no need for scientists. Another scientist may be trained within a year, but a mind like his may not appear in a century." But this truth did not save him. In 1794, Antoine Lavoisier was sent to the guillotine with the fall of the blade. Not only a man, but one of the brightest minds of science was lost, but his ideas lived on, and modern chemistry was built upon his legacy. In the 20th century, as war was tearing the world apart, cities were burning, millions were losing their lives, but in the middle of this chaos, one man was fighting on an invisible front, a silent war, a race against time: Alan Turing. He broke the Nazi Enigma code. He solved a problem believed to be impossible. He shortened the war. He saved millions of lives. But his war was not won on the battlefield, but in the realm of the mind. And he laid the foundations of modern computer science, algorithms, machine intelligence, the first seeds of artificial intelligence. He was the architect of the digital world we live in today. But after the war ended, he was not welcomed as a hero, but as an outsider. Society could not accept who he was. He was prosecuted for being homosexual. The man who once helped save his country was now declared a criminal by it. He was given two choices: prison or chemical castration. He chose the second, but this was not only a burden on his body, but on his soul. His brilliance slowly faded into loneliness. In 1954, he took his own life. He left behind a mind that changed the world. Today, technology stands upon his legacy: computers, artificial intelligence, the digital age. But while he was alive, he was silent, he was alone, and he was misunderstood. In the 19th century, a doctor was trying to understand why mothers were dying in hospitals, mysterious deaths after childbirth, a tragedy no one could explain. Ignaz Semmelweis. He was not just a doctor, but an observer in search of truth. He noticed a simple fact: doctors were not washing their hands. They moved from autopsies to delivery rooms, carrying an invisible danger with them. Semmelweis introduced hygiene rules. He made hand disinfection mandatory, and the result? Death rates dropped dramatically. Mothers began to live. Lives were being saved. But his colleagues refused to accept it, because admitting they were wrong was too heavy a burden for their egos. Scientific truth collided with a wall of pride. Semmelweis was mocked, ignored. Eventually, he was cast out. He was confined to a mental asylum. There, he died in loneliness. That he was right was only accepted years later. Today, the simple rule of washing hands saves millions of lives, and with every cleaned hand, his invisible legacy lives on. These stories share a common thread: not ignorance, fear. People fear the unknown. They fear what they cannot understand, because the unknown is what cannot be controlled. Those in power fear change, because change redistributes power. Society fears what is different. Anything outside the familiar feels like a threat, and this fear sometimes stands in the way of reason. sometimes stands in the way of justice, and sometimes truth becomes the most dangerous thing of all. Because truth does not comfort. It makes us question. It shakes us. It changes us. But history shows us this: fear is temporary. Truth is permanent. And in the end, it always comes to light. If today we can think freely, if we can ask questions, if we can advance science, if we are not afraid to seek the truth, if we dare to explore the unknown, it is because of their courage, because of their resistance, because they refuse to give up. History reminds us of this. Truth can sometimes be dangerous, sometimes uncomfortable, sometimes it demands a heavy price, but because of those who stand up for it, the world changes. The darkness grows a little brighter, knowledge grows a little stronger, and humanity takes one step further because progress always begins with courage.